Feel natural to you? Us
Yes,
talking to each
it's
other
normal,
at this
yeah.
volume. Okay, all right, great.
This is so strange.
It's so strange, isn't it? Hi, Pedro.
Hi, morning.
So tell us a bit about yourself.
About myself. Okay, so I'm Pedro. I am a dog specialist. I work with dogs, and I do photography as a hobby and now more professionally.
Amazing. When did you start photography?
Well, at 10 maybe, 10 years old,
Cool.
my uncle offered me a point and shoot camera, and I used all the photographs I had. I took them all, and then all of them were blurred and out of focus and everything, the worst thing possible. And I put photography on hold for 10 years maybe.
Wow.
And then I started with just a cell phone, taking pictures on our trips. And some years ago, I bought my first camera, and I started from there. So yeah, that was it.
Great. And so what equipment do you use today?
Well, I have a Canon M50 Mark II, and now I'm shooting mainly with the 50mm. So usually, yeah, that's it. At least the majority of the days.
Yeah. Great. And what sort of things do you like to take photos of?
Well, mainly landscape, but some dogs. Well, that was something that I didn't pay attention at all. It just came with my normal job. So I started making pictures for our Instagram and Facebook, and I started enjoying it more and more. So it has now a good spot nearby the landscape photography, which is my favorite thing. But some street photography, but it's more a rare thing than the usual thing I usually photograph.
Yeah. Well, I love the picture that you took of my dog.
Oh, thank
You
you.
really captured his cheeky personality.
Fun personality, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. It's more fun than serious. So I take landscape photography very seriously, or well, I take some time to see what I should frame it, etc. But with dogs, it's more a very fun thing to do.
Yeah. And so with the nature and landscape photography, what like inspires you to like take the photograph?
Well, I think it's something that starts always as a reminder of where I stayed. So I really like to go to the mountains and have silence and the coffee. And basically the landscape photography started as a reminder of what I lived there. And now it's something that is starting to be something to aim for. So, I want to go to that spot to take that specific picture, because I hiked there in the past and I want to come back to take a picture. So I think it's mainly that.
That's really nice. And I know that you have some places in mind around Portugal that you would like to photograph.
Yes, that's true. In Portugal for now, we want to do a trip to Serra da Estrela. We went there, but with a 3-year-old kid that yelled probably all the trip. So pictures were something rare. So I want to come back there with some friends and no kid. So to take actually some good pictures. So yeah, that's true.
Do you like to take your time when you're like taking a picture and thinking about the framing? Do you use tripods or?
Yes, I use a tripod. Actually, it's in the car. I thought about bringing it, but then I thought, no, it's fine. And taking time is something very rare for me. So I would call me opportunity photographer. So usually the maximum time I spend on a picture was like 3 minutes until today. So usually I just go because I have very few amount of time usually. But actually that trip to Serra da Estrela, it's one first attempt of thinking more time, more calmly, and enjoy more the moment and see what happens. Because yeah, usually my pictures are taken in a very, very short amount of time, very fast, and doing 3 more things at the same time. So,
Exactly.
so not the normal kind of photographer.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, other photographers that we've interviewed actually have spoken about how they use photography, or photography helps them in some way with like mental health challenges, or like calming ADHD tendencies, or as a form of escapism from like thoughts or daily stresses that they have. And it sounds like it might help you in a similar way.
Well, not as much the photography. Actually, that you talk about ADHD, I would say photography make my tendency to ADHD a lot worse, because it's like, oh, that's such a nice picture. Oh, a flower. So I am always jumping to different things. So, oh, that garbage looked nice. Let's see. So actually photography, it's not as therapeutic for me, but editing, yes. Editing make me a lot calmer. I think it's one of the most things that make me calm down and focus in one thing. So yeah, in that sense, photography not as much, but editing, yes, for sure.
Yeah, you enjoy the editing part of the
Yeah.
process when you find the time to.
Yeah, usually nights are long, so 1 a.m. it's a good time to take pictures, yes. So yeah, and at least in that moment I'm not doing anything else. So I think it's one of the things that helped me, yeah.
Yeah. What software do you use for your editing?
Yeah, usually mainly Lightroom and sometimes Snapseed, but mainly Lightroom. Just when I need some more spots, I use Snapseed.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually are those two.
Well, I'm not. I'm definitely a beginner editor, and I've learnt some really good things from you and your editing wisdom.
Thank you. Well, I'm just editing more the pictures for like 2 years. Until then, it is what it is, some change in brightness and etc. But with time and doing very, very, very often, so I don't need to change a lot the picture.
Yeah.
So I don't add things to the picture or remove things from the picture, just if it's a very awkward thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to change some on the colors. I never like my greens, so I always choose a bit the greens.
Greens are so tricky, aren't they?
Yes, and even the camera has a nice coloring. The greens are always the problem, and sometimes the blues. And I think that's part of the question about photographing in Portugal, and because I never have time on the golden hour or on the blue hour, so it's usually like crazy sun out.
Yeah.
So all the colors get very bright, vibrant, and yeah, so that's why sometimes I take more time to editing photos, because a lot of times the light it's not ideal at all.
What are we now, like midday? So it's,
Yeah.
we'll take some photographs in a bit, but like this is kind of the time that people say not to take photographs and like the
Yes.
midday sun, but
There's
a
no
bit
sun
cloudy
today, Stacey,
today.
so we are
so
fine.
we'll be okay, we'll be okay.
It's not the problem, yeah.
And so how do you find Lisbon as a photography destination, or as a base for you to take your photography from?
Yeah, for me, at least, as we talked, it's an opportunity thing. So I work in Lisbon, and I always bring my camera with me, so it's easy. But I think actually there's a lot of different things for a lot of different photographers. So you have big parks like here in Monsanto. You have big gardens with crazy amount of different types of flowers, like Tapada da Necessidade or Jardim da Estrela. And then you have, for street photography, you have all the different neighborhoods.
Amazing.
For people like who enjoy architecture pictures, you have all the different kinds of architecture in Lisbon. And so I would say Lisbon has a lot of variety in the kinds of photography you can take. And again, coming back to the ADHD, I think you have a lot of details in the city.
Yeah.
So yesterday, for example, I took a picture of a flower, and I really liked that picture. And it's a flower like this, and it's growing under a bench. And I was doing a training session, and the dog just stopped to sniff, and I saw that very, very tiny flower, and it was a great picture, at least for me. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And it was just a session, and it took 20 seconds to take. And so I think if you look, you have a lot of things to take pictures of.
Yeah. But you wouldn't necessarily notice if you weren't a photographer, or...
Yes, or a dog trainer, because I wouldn't have a dog that stopped to sniff. So probably was, again, an opportunity thing. But yes, but if you sometimes stop a bit to look around, and I started mainly taking pictures of landscape in the Alps and with snow and big mountains, and with every cell phone, everyone can take a beautiful picture of that. But if you do an effort, for example, in the other day, I took half an hour just to take pictures in one small garden. You have a lot of things to take pictures of. So yeah, Lisbon, it's very nice to take pictures. And you have good light and the river.
Oh, the light is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. What is next for you in your photography? What are your kind of hopes or ambitions or dreams, whatever you want to call it?
So yeah, I am just about to start doing some shoots with my clients because they're always asking me, and I am selling some prints. So yeah, I don't want to stop working with dogs. So that's my main thing, and I think I have a lot to give to the clients and to help them. So I don't want to stop doing that.
Yeah.
But I would like to have like a second project in photography. Oh, talking about dogs. So I would like to have a second project with photography. I'm not sure exactly in what format, but yes, definitely I would like to spend more time doing photography professionally in a short amount of time.
Great. Is there anything else that you want to share with us that I haven't asked you about today?
No, I think we talked about the majority of things. And yes, for people starting photography in Portugal, in this case, I think it's very easy because it's just looking around and you'll find something nice.
Yeah.
Or well, something that it's not nice or not interesting, but that you, with photography, you can turn into interesting thing. And something that you can look and think, oh, I want this in my wall.
Yeah.
And it was just something that was there.
Yeah.
And yes, so basically it's that.
Yeah. No, great. Hopefully we'll get lots of beginner photographers watching these interviews. So yeah, I think it's important to share how we got started and how creative you can be with them. Because like you say, most of us now, we take loads of pictures on our phones.
Yes.
And we scroll through them on our phone screens. But yeah, like you, I've been exploring, different ways that you can print them, display them, cyanotype and other types of like creative things that you can do with it. Like hopefully our photographs have more life than just being on our, in Lightroom or on our cell phone or
And I would say that nowadays, at least what I see, a lot of people are very focused on the best gear, the most amazing picture. And even if you are a professional and if you do it for a long period, I think you should have fun doing this.
Yeah.
And just bring a lightweight camera and a prime lens and you just take pictures. And I think if you lose that on the process, you lose one of the most important parts. And I would say nowadays you will always look at Instagram and there's always a picture amazing there. But I think if you give your personality to your work, it will be something different from everyone. So
Yeah,
I would say
exactly.
just start doing it with the most cheap camera you have, wherever. It's fun.
Yeah, totally. Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you
It's
for
been
having
really
me.
nice to listen to you and your views and experience with photography. So
Thank you so much. It was very nice to be here.